Waiting. Go? Alright. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm MunchaKoopas, and this is Shovel Knight. I'm playing any percent, so I'm gonna get whatever the heck I please. The main objective of this game is to go to each level and defeat a knight, kinda like Mega Man, only you can play them, you have to select them from a world map, kinda like Mario Bros. 3. Anyway, I have a shovel, obviously. I can swing it, bounce off of stuff with it like Scrooge McDuck, and I'm gonna collect a whole lot of gold, and buy some cool stuff, and beat up some bad guys. Not a whole lot to talk about movement-wise. Right now it's very basic. I run, I jump, I bounce off things. And coming up you'll see me kind of swinging my shovel and then immediately jumping afterward. And what that's going to do is it's going to cancel my ground attack, or cancels the animation rather, which allows Shovel Knight to continue moving or then attack again in the air. So if you've played Shovel Knight before, I'm going to be buying the Dust Knuckles, the Propeller Dagger, the Mobile Gear, the Conjurer's Coat, and the Charge Slash. Right there I'm just hitting jump and attack at the same time to dig through all of that. The next thing coming up is what we call the bubble wrap in the community. I'm actually going to use some bubbles that a dragon spits out, and then hopefully use them to wrap around a couple of screens and save about 4 seconds. Did it. Nice. That only really works in that spot in this game, mostly because of the way the rooms are aligned, and also because of there's no actual way for Shovel Knight to gain additional height in the air beyond jumping. This is Black Knight, and I'm going to jump and attack him and push him back into the corner. We all make mistakes sometimes. Anyway, if you're wondering how to do that, as you jump and then swing your shovel, right after you swing the shovel, push jump again, and then you'll just continue pushing Black Knight. You can do that on all 3 of the fights in this game. I'm only going to be doing the first and the third, since the second is a map encounter and I will never see it. Next stop is the village, but we don't care. We have places to be. Like this castle, for example. This is Pridemore Keep, the lair of King Knight. There's not a whole lot of special tech in this level, aside from something coming up at the screen transition here. Only thing to note in this first room are these lava pots on a local cycle, so I just don't want to get behind. That's what we call gentle jump. Sorry I didn't explain it before I got there. But essentially, I swing my shovel at a certain point in my jump, and if I do that on the screen transition, it gives my jump a little extra height, which saves a handful of frames there. Ouch. This level is almost easier than the Plains of Passage, the first level. Right now there's going to be about 4 rooms here of me just holding right and jumping over this friendly fellow. Ouch. So as for my gold amounts, I'm really not going to be spending any gold until I get to the Lost City, which is 2 levels away from this one. When I get there, I'm going to want more than 3,000 gold, and that's the first item I'm going to get. If you're familiar with Shovel Knight runs, you may have seen a lot of people use the Chaos Orb, and then you've seen a couple people use Flare Wand, probably. I'm actually not going to use either of those. So we'll see how this goes. This is the book room. Some call it a library. I call it a book room. This library doesn't even have a floor. I mean, who does that? Gonna hit this griffin and enter his hitbox, because when you take damage, or when you damage enemies in this game, they can't damage you. Here's King Knight. Messed up on the fight a little bit, but that's okay. Still plenty good. And my next stop will be the Lich Yard. This level is full of all kinds of horrible things, like these frogs, that one I just passed. If they're awake, like this one, they have a bunch of different random jump heights they can use. They can also electrify themselves, which is just wonderful. Other special qualities of this level include platforms that lower when you stand on them, as well as some dark rooms where all you see is the background. I haven't done that trick in a while. Not surprised I missed it that way. Ouch. Again, not too much movement-wise to discuss. These are the platforms that will lower as long as there's two of something on it. In this room, I have no idea when that first frog is going to jump, so I just have to react to him. The second frog is just a jerk, and likes to stand in your way. Ouch. Development on the Spectre Knight DLC has actually finished, by the way. Now it's just the submission process and certification on consoles. Haven't done this trick in a while either. Unfortunately, I died. Oh well. Try again. I actually do need all of this money back, so I have to wait here a moment. Oh well. Coming up next is the first of the unskippable dreams. And in these I just want to die as quickly as possible, because that's what ends them as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, I took a hit that was only half a pip, as opposed to a whole. So I lost about 4 seconds there. Alright, first big trick of the game, like really big trick, is where we use a bird to skip the second half of this beetle auto-scroller. Gonna free this bird at a very carefully timed moment. Excellent. Since I did die earlier and I didn't discuss what happens when you die, I'll talk about that now. When you die in Shovel Knight, you lose 1/4 of the gold you are carrying, and as you saw, you can get it back. But in certain situations, like that skip I just did, if I were to die there, I would actually have to reset to map, because I need all this money, and I would have no way to get it back other than waiting for the auto-scroller. I'm going to make my first purchase here. I just bought the Dust Knuckles for 3,000 gold. They cost 2 magic to use. And they kind of pull Shovel Knight along toward anything that the shovel can interact with, more or less. As you can already see, they're fairly useful. I'm gonna break this for a little bit of extra money, just in case. Mole Knight does the same thing every single fight. And that's about as fast as you can kill him without any sort of projectiles. Not a bad fight, really. My next stop will be the Iron Whale, the water level. So since it's a water level, my jump height will be increased, and then my falling speed will be decreased. The best emote I have on FFZ? I have no idea. But if you want to go ahead and just spam and Knuckles, that'd be great. Punching that checkpoint right there actually does save frames. As it does right here. Now I'm hoping I get some magic drops from these tentacles. So far I haven't gotten any, which is unfortunate for me. And that is the most risky skip in the entire game. I'm very lucky I didn't die. So I have no magic for the mini-boss fight, which we call 420 Fish. You'll see why. He just kind of sits up high on the screen, in a daze. Pupils dilated. He's having a grand old time in his own little world. I hope you didn't blink or you missed that last room. I'm gonna go for a pixel perfect jump. Didn't get it. Luckily I was able to jump off the anchor in time before I fell to my death. And anchor skip complete. Give me all of the money. This guy's name is Treasure Knight. Not a bad fight. Could have been a little faster. But still good. Now I'm going to do the unthinkable. I'm going to go buy the Charge Slash, which is an attack that lets me charge my attack for extra damage on one swing. And then I'm also going to buy the Conjurer's Coat. The Conjurer's Coat gives me 50 extra magic, which I'll need in the late game, at the cost of taking 0.5 extra damage from every single attack. I'm getting this item before I go into the Explodatorium. Jeff in 3D. Hello, my friend. I hope you're having a swell day. I mean that with the utmost sincerity. Anyhow, this level is based around global cycles, so certain things later on in the level have started moving, even as I entered the stage. And I've already messed up the cycle, since I missed that swing at the proper time. So now I'm going to have to adapt later on. Luckily the local cycle here is great. I'm gonna wait a moment here. I'm a couple cycles behind, but I'm behind enough to where I'm at the good cycle. I don't really have to worry about getting hit. This room you just hope the slimes are nice to you. Coming up is a mini-boss fight. The fight isn't that hard, it just takes a little bit because this boss has the most health of anything in the game. It takes 23 hits to kill this boss. And these fire platforms are also on a global cycle, so you just adapt to whatever cycle you end up with here. And then we're going to try and use this Chompy to our advantage and grab a ladder off screen. Excellent. Another damage boost off these chompies if they're feeling nice. Didn't get Ice Climber skip. Got the backup though. Goodbye. Took that a little safe at the end there, even though I have full health, but I wanted to be sure that I could beat him properly. Alright, this is the second dream, and ideally I'll get to show off something pretty cool. We'll see, though. Pardon me. Alright. And instant dream ending. If you notice, Shovel Knight was actually still asleep as he slid off the side of the screen. Getting that right first time saves about 4 seconds. Next stop is the Flying Machine. Actually the longest level in the run in terms of number of rooms. This is where I'll be buying my next item, the Propeller Dagger. I already have all the money I need for it, so I don't really need to worry about collecting gold, which is nice. I actually don't need to worry about gold for the rest of the run, since there's only 2 items left to buy. And even though I'm going to be basically out of gold after I make this purchase, killing the boss here gives me all the money I need and more for the next item. That is what we call a Jawa, as you saw a couple of them earlier. They're probably the most annoying enemy in the game. Messed up that skip a little bit by doing 1 extra hit, but the mini-boss died quickly, so I guess it doesn't matter. I have to go up to this screen so that I can then go back with the fans not active for a moment, and that allows me to get into this room. And this is where the Propeller Dagger is. A lot of people miss this item because it's very well hidden. Propeller Dagger costs 4 magic to use and does this. It moves Shovel Knight along in a dash-like fashion. It saves a lot of time, and is the main reason we purchased the Conjurer's Code. And that was a perfect triple Jawa room. So called because there's 3 of the Jawas in there. And if you move through that room in basically some sort of variation of what I did, you never have to stop, and you get through really easily. And aside from the death in Lich Yard earlier, this has been a fairly solid run in my opinion. These fans are on a global cycle, so we basically we never actually know what cycle we're going to be on. Well, Smoggy does. I never know. So you just kind of have to hope that you get there, and then you get a good cycle, and that you can adapt. That room just has a very specific setup. I actually don't hold right as I do those first 2 daggers, which is how that setup works. And just enough magic to get me across the gap. And that is my patented Propeller Knight quick kill. Alright. Next stop is the Clockwork Tower. This level has my favorite music in the game. And it also has the last item we're going to buy. By we, I mean me. More on that later. There's not a whole lot to talk about in this level. It's full of conveyor belts and things that shoot gears, or these little tinker rats that move back and forth. Those giant gears do a ton of damage, by the way, so you do not want to get hit by them. A common theme among the Flying Machine, the Clockwork Tower, and the next level Stranded Ship is that there's very little health in all of them. So where I take damage, if I want to take damage at all, which there are sometimes I want a damage boost, but I need to carefully pick those. In this level there actually isn't a lot of damage boosting, but I still don't want to get hit, because there aren't a lot of places to replenish health here. So I just purchased the mobile gear. Costs 6 magic to use, and as you'll see in a moment here, it summons a little platform for you to ride on. It also has a special use against this stage's boss, which we'll see later on. So the reason this item will always remain in the any % route is that it can go over spikes like this. I'm just gonna be lazy and ride it right here. Alright, I have plenty of magic for the quick kill coming up, which will be a combination of Dust Knuckle usage and some gear throwing. These sign daggers are completely random. There actually are patterns that completely prevent you from climbing that ladder. Everything is actually already loaded in this auto-scroller, I believe, aside from... Actually, no, everything should be loaded here. But there's actually no real benefit to getting above the auto-scrollers in this game, because you have to wait for the screen to stop scrolling before it will transition you. Anyhow, here's Tinker Knight. Isn't he cute? Goodbye, Tinker Knight. But wait, there's more! Just gonna do a Michael Jackson impression while we wait here. Spam tech skill. Now, coming up is one of the harder levels in the any % run. Really in any run, I say. Stranded Ship is a level, like the previous two, that is very tough on health and magic. There's very few spots where you can replenish either, aside from killing enemies. That's another perk of the Conjurer's Coat, by the way, is that from practically every enemy, it guarantees at least a small magic drop, which gives 5 magic. The large magic drops give 30. And I can get a 30 at any given time, so... that one is always there. But, you'll see me kill a few enemies along this route in the hopes of getting a big magic drop, like this guy. I got a 5. And another 5. Unfortunately, I took damage there, which I didn't want to do. So this isn't really a problem. As long as I don't take another hit, I'm fine. There are 2 damage boosts I want to do in this level. And then there is health just before the boss, so provided I don't take another unintentional hit, I will be okay on health. Subpar fight, but we got him before he got us, so I guess all is well. One more dream, and then it's off to the Tower of Fate. Similar to the Mega Man games, the last 3 levels or so in this game are kind of all part of one big theme level. So you'll see enemies and other things from all the previous levels. Kind of like a gauntlet to test your knowledge of the game. The Tower of Fate entrance level that I'm going to next is actually one of the most consistent levels in the game. It plays out basically the same time every single time you go through it. Excuse me. This is the infamous Crusher. I think every good platforming game has one of these. Thanks to the propeller dagger, I can actually skip, I believe, 1 cycle of this up and down. Ooh, that guy dropped a big magic and I couldn't get it. That's always the worst. Coming up is a room full of green rain, so rip the bitrate for a moment. The dragon got in my way. And again. Alright, now we fight Black Knight again. If you remember the start of the game, I was able to push him over into the right corner. I can do the same thing, but the time frame to do that is much smaller. Dead. Poor guy never stood a chance. Alright, the next level is me going through the interior of the tower, and then ascending to fight all of the other knights consecutively, just like in the Mega Man games. The difference is that I don't get a choice in the order I fight them. I do get extra health after every, or a health refill rather, after every boss. And every other boss I get 30 magic as well. So part of having a good boss rush is making sure that you open all of the correct food platters so that you get the max amount of magic possible. Since I don't have orbs or flare, it's not super important that I get the magic, but it's still helpful. Unexpected big magic from that slime. Blessed. That's unexpected. There we go. If that Jawa had not boosted me with his fan, I would have been dead. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but thank you, Jawa. The only thing to mention in this auto-scroller is that you can get above the blocks as they spawn. The dirt blocks are actually some of the only things that aren't loaded with the room when you enter it. So if you know the proper timing, you can actually get inside them. Like this. It doesn't really save much time, since it's an auto-scroller, but it does make the whole thing a lot safer, so if you have low health, it is a good thing to do. The only rule of boss rush is that Polar Knight will be within the first 3. This time he was the first boss. Perfect. Yes, Boik, so we are still having a Shovel Knight any percent tournament. hosted by the fine folks over at twitch.tv/speedgaming. The next match, I believe, is this Friday, myself versus Engage. Goodbye, Plague Knight. I want to be toward the middle of the stage because that's kind of where I'm used to fighting these enemies. And furthermore, I generally want to be on the left side of this chain in the middle, so then the boss fights will start the same way I'm expecting them to. Fairly well, Mole Knight. Not a bad boss rush aside from the terrible pattern on treasure. I could save them, but instead I'm going to say suck eggs, losers. These blocks come at you in the same pattern every single time. So really you just want to pick a spot in the room that you like and then memorize like what you need to do. Most runners use this spot I'm using just because it's kind of like the easiest one. It's been used basically since the game launched. There we go. Not exactly what I wanted, but it'll do. And now the guy gets the girl. Time will be on the final hit of this boss. So I believe Shield Knight went over here to the left, which means that's where she'll start the fight with her initial jump. Yep. Oh man. Oh well. Time. Not the best fight, but I finished the game. $44.35. That's 18 seconds off of my PB with this route. If I had not died in Spectre, I would have PB'd by a good 30 seconds. I'm kind of upset by that. Anyway, I think we need to jump into Hyper Light Drifter. I believe we are slightly ahead of schedule. No, it was still a very good run. I'm very happy with a lot of things in that run. My apologies if I sound ungrateful.